Number 1, Chris earns $7.76 per hour at his job. Last week he worked 22.5 hours. How much money did he make last week? Well, in this case we have to multiply, because it says he makes this much per hour, and then he worked this many hours. So if you were doing a payroll check, you want to see how much money you've got coming in on your next paycheck, you would multiply these two. So you would say 7.76 times 22.5, and when you're multiplying here, you don't have to worry. You do not have to worry with lining up the decimals. You just need to make sure you count back the correct number of decimals. So let's go ahead and multiply this guy out, and we'll just do one at a time. 5 times 6 is 30. You're going to carry the 3. 7 times 5 is 35, plus 3 is 38. Carry the 3. 5 times 7 is 35, plus 3 is 38 again. Then you're going to bring your 0 right here. 2 times 6 is 12. Carry the 1. 2 times 7 is 14, plus 1 is 15. Carry the 1 again. 2 times 7 is 14, plus 1 is 15 again. Okay, we just multiplied by 2, so let's go ahead and add our 2 zeros, and we can look at these numbers right here to see exactly what our answer is going to be. It's 2551. I'm running out of paper here, but if you add those up, you get 0 and 0 again for 10. Carry the 1, that's 9. Plus 5 is 14, 15, 16. Carry the 1 again, that's 4. Plus 5 is 14. Carry the 1. 1 plus 1 plus 5 is 7. And then 1. Now we come out with this answer right down here. The answer is not $174,600. You have to be sure to count back the number of decimals you've got here. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3. You have 3 numbers behind the decimal, so you've got to count back here. 1, 2, 3. Answer's $174.60. Let me just double check my math here to make sure I'm correct. And I am. Alrighty. So again, you would multiply that out. Again, it's hours per week, and go from there. Each lap around the track is 3 3/8 miles long. Jason walked 4.5. Should be times around the track. How many miles did Jason walk? Well, again, this might be good for you to do a picture here. If you got each lap is 3 3/8. He did this guy 4.5 times, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and 4.5. Well, if each lap were 2 miles long and he walked it twice, you would say 2 times 2. Well, you would do the same exact thing here. You would say 3 3/8 times 4 and 1/2. Well, we need to convert these both to improper fractions. That way we can go ahead and multiply. And the good news for you is when you multiply fractions, you just multiply them straight across. You don't have to find a common denominator or any of that mess. Alright, so we learned this last week. 8 times 3 is 24, plus 3 is 27. We keep our denominator. Times 8 plus 1 is 9 over 2. And all we do is multiply straight across here. Well, the bottom's easy. It's going to be 16. The top, we're going to have to multiply 27 times 9. That's 63. Carry the 6. 9 times 2 is 18. Plus 6 is 24. So we've got 243 over 16. Well, as we know, we can't leave it like this. This is an improper fraction. The 243 goes in the house. The 16 is out here. Let's just make sure we're right. That'll go in there once. 16, 8, carry it down to 3. 16 will go into 83 about 5 times. This is going to be 80 with a remainder of 3. This is going to be 15 and 3 over 16. Let me just double check my math double quick here. And I'm right again. 15 and 3 over 16. Now this is kind of an unusual question, number 3. Pins are on sale for 71 cents each. Sheila's going to buy as many as she can for $11.70. Now that number 71 may not go into $11.70 evenly, but what the question is asking us is how many pins can she buy? It doesn't have to be an exact amount. You may not have enough for the nth pin. What we want to see is the maximum number she can buy. So in this case we're going to divide. We're going to say $11.70 divided by 0.71. Okay. Well, we know that 1171 is going to go in the house, or sorry, 1170 is going to go in the house, and 0.71 is going to go outside. Well, we can't divide by a decimal, so we got to move this guy over twice. 1, 2, make that 71. Well, if we do that on the outside of the house, we have to do it on the inside. Move that guy over twice. So our new expression, or our new problem, is going to be 71 into 1170. 71 will not go into 11, but it will go into a 117 once without going over. 71, and our remainder, or the difference, is going to be 6. That's 46. Bring down our 0. 71 into 460. It's probably going to go about 6 times without going over. I'm not 100%. I may have to check my math. That's 6. And remember, our decimal's got to go up here because that's where our decimal was. Going to get a difference of about 34 here. Bring down my 0, and this is going to go in there roughly 4 times. Well, we have a number here, and we don't have to keep going because our number is about 16.4 something something something. Well, can you buy 0.4 or 0.5 or whatever of a pin? No. So the most you can buy is 16. In this case, you would round down. Now, we're not rounding down because 5 is, or 4 is less than 5. We're rounding down because we can only buy 16 pins. We do not have enough money to buy the 17th pin. Okay, so therefore 16 is our answer. Okay. Number 4. Chris found 30 shells at a beach. Alex found 3/8 as many. How many shells did Alex find? I'm sorry, you'll have to forgive me. This should be 32. And hopefully I've changed that on your paper. Chris found 32 shells at the beach. Alex found 3/8 as many. Well, if we have 3/8 as many, if you have 3/8 of a pizza, you can visualize a pizza and 3/8 of it. You know, something roughly about that size right there. Okay. 3/8, that means 3/8 of the entire pizza. So all we do there, if you want 3/8 of it, you would just simply multiply 3/8 times however number you're looking at. In this case, it's 32. So in this case, you would say 32 times 3 over 8. Because I want to know 3/8 of it. If I multiply that, I'm going to have some number less than 32 because I'm multiplying it by a number less than 1. Not less than 0, but less than 1. Okay. Well, in order for us to do this, what is 31? We just need to change that to an improper fraction so we can multiply straight across. Well, 32 as a fraction is simply 32 over 1. So now we have 32 over 1 times 3 over 8. If you know how to cross cancel, you can do that here, but I'm not going to do that right now. 32 times 3 is 96 over 8. Well, as we know, that is not the complete answer. We have to divide. So we got 96 in the house and 8 on the outside. Our answer is 12. 12 shells. Rochelle's car averages 22.5 miles per gallon on the highway. At that rate, how many gallons of gas will she use if she drives on the highway for 250 miles? Well, if we know we're going to drive 22.5 miles, we're only going to take 1 gallon, because 22.5 miles divided by 22.5 miles is 1. Okay? But in order for us to answer this question, Rochelle's car averages 22.5 miles per gallon. So how many gallons are we going to use to do 250 miles? Well, in this case, we're going to divide. We're going to say 250 divided by 22.5. Well, we cannot divide by a decimal, so we've got to move that over. If we do that outside, we've got to move it over here. So our new problem is going to be 225 into 2,500. Go ahead and add you a few decimals and go ahead and bring this guy up. 225 won't go into 2 or 25, but it will go into 250 once. 225. We have 25 left over. We're going to bring down the 0. It's going to go in here again once. And this is 225. 1 times 225 for a difference of 25. You can bring our 0 down again. This is going to go, and this is going to keep going. 11.1111 forever. Well, how many gallons will she use if she drives on the highway 250 miles? You're going to keep dividing this, but you'll see you're going to start to develop a pattern. It's going to be 11.1 continued. So, for example, if we had a car that averages 5 miles per gallon, and we wanted to know how many gallons it would take to travel 500 miles, you would divide them by 500. You would get 100, and that would be how many gallons you would need. So in that case, we're going to divide. Okay? And the key term there is going to be per gallon. The smoothie recipe calls for 1/3 of a cup of orange juice. How many cups of orange juice are needed to make 7 servings? Well, this one, it might help us to draw a picture. Okay? We're going to have a 1/3 here, 1/3 here, 1/3 here, and so on. And if you get 7 of these, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1/3 each. I could add 1/3 7 times, or I could just say, hey, what is the same thing as adding it 7 times? I could just multiply it by 7. Because if I'm taking 1/3 for each one, I'm going to have to multiply it by 7 to see how many total cups I'm going to need. So it's going to be 7 times 1/3. We have to change that to an improper fraction and just multiply straight across. 7 as an improper fraction is simply 7/1 times 1/3. That's going to be 7/3. Well, we know we can't leave it like this. We have to divide it. So 7 goes in the house, 3 goes on the outside. Let's go ahead and add a couple of decimal points here. This will go in here twice, bringing down to 0. This is going to go in here 3 times. Oh, and actually, you know what? Let's leave it as a fraction. Forgive me. So we're going to have 2 and remainder of 1, denominator of 3, 2 1/3. 2 1/3. A cell phone service costs $44 a month plus 19 cents per minute for long distance calls. What is your monthly bill if you make 51 minutes of long distance service? Well, it says right here they're 19 cents per 51, but we also have $44 a month, regardless of how many you make. And in math, this is what we call a constant. We'll get to that a lot later. So we're going to have 44 plus whatever 51 times 0.9 is, or 0.19. So we say 0.19 times 51. And remember, we're going to need to see how many decimals we have past, or see how many numbers we have past the decimal here when we're done. 1 times 9 is 9. 1 times 1 is 1. Bring down your 0. 5 times 9 is 45. Carry your 4. 5 times 1 is 5 plus 4 is 9. So we're going to have 9, 6, and 9. We have 1, 2 past the decimal, so we're going to move 1, 2 for a total of $9.69. But don't forget, that's just for the long distance calls. We got a service charge of $40 a month, or $44. So we're going to have to add $44 to that. Don't forget to line up your decimals right. That's 96.31 and $53.69. $53.69. Now this is kind of a two-step problem here. A soccer uniform costs $3.18 for the shirt and $7.49 for the short. What is the total cost for 6 of these guys? Well, I got to add these two guys up to see the total cost of a whole uniform, and then I got to multiply that by 6 because I want to know how many 6 costs. So if you were buying pens at the store and they were $1 each, you would just multiply 1 times 6, get the answer. Well, this one's a little bit more complicated because you got to add the total cost, this plus this times this. Okay, so 318 plus 749. I'm just going to do that like that. 7, carry the 1. That's going to be 6. Bring down your decimal point. That's going to be $10.67 for an entire uniform. Okay, now we're going to multiply that by 6. That's 42. Carry the 4. That's 36. Plus 4 is 40. Carry the 4. 6 times 0 is 0. Plus 4 is 4. 6 times 1 is 6. For a total of $64.02. So we added those two costs together. We multiplied them by 6. A group of 8 adults bought tickets to a play at the community center. The tickets were $5.42 a piece. How much did all the tickets cost? Well, if 8 adults bought tickets and they were $1 a piece, you would multiply 8 times 1 and the total cost would be $8. Well, they're a little bit more than this. You would do the exact same thing. You're going to say 8 times $5.42. Well, let's just line this up. 5.42 times 8. That's 16. Carry the 1. That's 32.33. Carry the 3. 8 times 5 is 40. That's 43. We have 2 past the decimal place here. We got to move it back twice for a total of $43.36. In that case, we're going to multiply. Tickets for the basketball game cost $8.70. How much do 12 tickets cost? We're going to multiply again. $8.70 times 12. That's 0, 4, carry the 1. 16.17. Bring down our 0. That's $8.70. I'm going to have to add it up over here. That's going to be 0, 4, 4, carry the 1. That's 10. Move the decimal place over twice. It's going to be $104.40. A weather balloon at an elevation of 340 feet falls at a constant rate. That means it's not going to increase or decrease the speed. It's going to fall constantly. The balloon reaches the ground in 17 minutes. How fast was the balloon falling per minute? Per minute. Well, it fell this many feet in 17 minutes. We want to know how many feet did it travel per minute or fall per minute. We're going to divide then 340 divided by 17. Sorry, I'm starting to run out of room. This will go in here twice. This is 34. 0, 0, that'll go in there 0 times. So the answer is 20 feet per minute. Miss Davis drove 196 miles in 3.5 hours. What was her speed in miles per hour? Well, in this case, we're simply going to divide. So, for example, if I said she drove 20 miles in 2 hours, we would divide 20 by 2. In this case, we're going to divide 196 divided by 3.5. 196 divided by 3.5. Well, what we have to do is find the fractional equivalent of 196 and divide it by 3.5. Well, that's going to be 196 over 1 divided by, and this turned into an improper fraction, is simply 7 over 2, because 3 times 2 is 6 plus 1. Well, all we do now is cross multiply, or we multiply by the reciprocal, I should say. Please forgive me. We multiply by the reciprocal, which means we leave the first one the same and we change this and we just flip it. We keep, change, and flip. We don't multiply, or we don't divide, we multiply now. So we keep 96 over 1, change this to a multiplication, keep, change, and then flip. So now we have 392 over 7. Okay. Well, of course, we can't leave that like that. We have to divide it. So the 392 and 7, this will go in here, let's see, 5 times 35, 4, bring down your 2, 6. She was traveling 56 miles per hour. And we got that by dividing. Remember, when you divide a decimal or fraction, you've got to change it to an improper fraction. Do that the same, then you multiply by the reciprocal. And that's something we've covered in class several times. A shelf is 21.5 inches long. Alice is setting her model cars in line along that shelf. If each car is 2 3/4 inches long, what is the greatest number of cars she can place in a line along the shelf? Again, this may not divide evenly, but I've got to know the most she can put on that shelf. Alright, so if we've got a shelf that's yay long, we've got one that's that big, that big, that big, that big at 2 3/4. The only way we can find this out is by dividing. We have to divide 21.5 by 2 3/4. Okay, so 21.5 divided by 2 3/4. We have to change this to an improper fraction, which is 43 over 2 divided by 11 over 4. Now we keep, change, and flip or multiply by the reciprocal to find our answer, which is going to change this to 43 over 2 times 4 over 11. Bottom's going to be 22. Top is going to be, what is that, 86, 172. And let me just check my math here. 43 times 4. Yeah, 172. And then, of course, we can't just leave it like this. We have to divide it. 172 divided by 22. This will probably go in there about, let's try 8. Nope, that's not going to work. It's going to be 7. It's going to be a 4. Carry the 1. 7 times 2 is 14. That's 15. Remainder is going to be 18. It's going to be 18 over 22. Now, normally we would reduce, but the most she can line up on that shelf, we don't have enough room for an 8th car. So the answer is going to be 7. A map has a scale of 1/4 inch equals 12 miles. The distance between 2 parks on the map is 3 3/4 inches. How many miles apart are the parks? Well, I'm just going to show you how to set these up. And these bold ones are for my advanced kids. So what I'm going to say is, if they're this far apart, you have to divide 3 3/4 divided by 1/4. You have to get that number, and then you have to multiply that number times 12. About 50 million Americans attend classical music concerts. The average concert goer attends 2.5 concerts per year. About how many tickets to classical concerts are sold? They're saying that 50 million people go, and then those usually go about 2.5 times a year on average. So they want to know how many total tickets were sold. In order to find that out, we have to multiply 50 times 2.5. The United States Mint issued a series of 50 quarters representing each of the 50 states. What is the cost of collecting 7 of each quarter? Well, if there are a total of 50, we're going to multiply them by 7. Okay. I want 7 of each quarter. I want 7 of each quarter. Well, I'm going to have a total of 350. But they're only a quarter apiece. So we're going to multiply that by 0.25. And I'll let you do the math on that one. An investor pays $495 to purchase 15 shares of stock. The total price includes a $45 commission. What was the cost of each stock? Well, a commission is what you pay per share plus $45 in commission. Well, in order to figure out how much each share is, we have to take away that $45. So we're going to be left, we're going to say 495.45 minus $45. That's going to leave us with $450.45. Now, we know that each share is, or we're going to buy 15 shares, so we want to figure out what the price is. We're going to divide that by 15. Good luck.